Truth telling runs very deep. If we let little things get away too much to where you're affected and you're starting to not enjoy being with somebody or enjoy a job or whatever it is, truth telling all those things will start to add up. And suddenly you find yourself not wanting to have that friendship anymore, not wanting to be in that marriage anymore, whatever it is. So, I say little t leads to big T, and big T big T meaning truth, on a bigger reality level, inherent truth. They do interweave and intersect. There's a gradation, and some of it, and to have truth in one's life takes some fire. It takes some inner resource, Saint Michael. I mean, if you think about Jesus, the person that, the human being that we've heard about, he had some real fire in him too. He was also genuinely loving and kind and accepting and humble and all that stuff. But he also had fire. That's what killed him, right? Got him killed, is to stand up and say what's not okay, what's not true, and speak up for truth. And I mean, maybe, that's also in our collective consciousness, that speaking truth can be harmful. And we're not always meant to be liked, we have this real need to be accepted and liked, and to the point where we will silence our own voice because we're tribal by nature, and we don't want to be thrown out of the tribe, because that could mean the end of our existence. That's also in our genetics, in our DNA, to be tribal. And causing some waves can throw one out of the circle. But it's not true, right? We have almost 8 billion people. Being honest with certain people is not going to throw you out of the tribe. So we have to overcome some of these resistances and fears and beliefs inside. We have to overcome certain beliefs to be able to say, no, I don't care if I'm not all the way liked. Screw that. I'm going to have an opinion. That's one thing, and I'll stop there. It's just one thing about Americans that a lot of Europeans don't have. Americans have like a double dose of being trained to be nice. I have relatives in Germany, and they don't have that. And I have some of that. I'm so glad I have some of that, because my mom is German. So I have some of that. I don't need to be nice all the time. I can be truthful, and we can still agree to disagree, kind of thing. Like, it's more safe to disagree. Philosophically, politically, blah, blah, blah. I mean, in certain countries, in Europe and so on. Not everywhere, of course. Disagreeing can get you killed in a lot of places. But Americans have this kind of like extra layer of, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to have an opinion. And you can see it in some of the spiritual teachers, the really great spiritual teachers here in the United States, some of them, and they won't have an opinion about what's taking place in the world. They won't have an political opinion. They want to stay neutral. I don't respect that, because I think the world needs people to have an opinion, especially if it's an opinion that is in favor of people being well treated, in favor of speaking out against injustice. I don't think that the planet needs more neutrality. It needs people to have some fire. Of course, everyone's going to have a different personality. Everybody does. And some personalities are more gentle. I would say I probably lean more on the gentle personality side, but I have the ability to have an edge, as you can see. People who know me, work with me here, they know that in a hopefully a good way. But there's also that spiritual belief of a personality type that where we think we're going to land and end up, and that is going to be always calm, always peaceful, always in a kind of a passive way, and accepting. And it is true that one becomes more understanding of where people, because you understand where people are coming from. They're coming from pain a lot of times. But there's also more nuance, like more ability to be discerning and say yes and no in a more healthy way. So some people will want to spiritually bypass their anger, their rage, their undigested material to arrive at some kind of spiritual personality that is all welcoming and loving, without having done the real work of integrating what one contains inside. Do you understand? So the spiritual kind of beliefs of I'm gonna be more kind, more loving, more gentle, without having first gone through the steps of accepting one's disturbance, is called spiritual bypassing. But you do arrive at being maybe more integrated, but you're actually more elemental, and you have more like ability to flow through the different inner elements of sadness, joy, anger, all the elements that we were talking about, in a way that is more internal versus outwardly directed, and except for when needed. We're meant to encompass everything and know ourselves as everything. I hope that helps, because a lot of people will betray themselves and repress and suppress and not let things come out in a healthy way so it can be integrated. To be stirred up by injustice is not a bad thing. You don't want to neutralize everything and become some kind of blah marshmallow, a sticky sweet marshmallow with no edges. Okay. And there will be spiritual teachers out there who are not in touch with their anger and who have repressed that. And so you won't see that side. You won't see any kind of fire. So don't be fooled in thinking that that's the way one is meant to be. I have Amma as an example. I always use Amma as an example because she is, for me, she's so multifold. I have seen her be angry. And I think there's probably a place for it. And Love is the primary ingredient, no matter what, even with anger. If anger can arise within you, being a fundamentally loving person, then you're more in balance. And I have seen that all the teachers that I have really loved throughout time have had a place inside where they have had a big fat no and call people on stuff. It has to be pointed out. Injustice, unkindness, mistreatment has to be pointed out. Hopefully in a way that wakes that person up. Okay, fun stuff. I used to be afraid of bringing this kind of stuff out and teaching, and I'm not afraid anymore. I would do it individually working with people, but as a group, you know. I mean, there's a reason why people are afraid of Kali. But Amma gave me a Kali mantra. So go figure. Not because she's meant to be scary, but she's integrated.